2020 Hyundai Sonata car review. Gazing upon the newest 2020 Hyundai Sonata in the flesh brings the look to life and definitely makes the car's 8th generation overhaul much more impressive compared to what we could gather from the initial photos. Every detail is dripping with artistic influence: the extremely low hood, the shapely roofline that's an inch less than before, plus the significant depth perfectly located at the body sides. The rear deck is shorter, the general diameter from the tires slightly larger. From the side, two prominent creases playfully converge after which diverge again while they run from side to side. But we also appreciate the restraint on Hyundai's part for not just packing in more lines and surfaces, and this can be how car companies seek to amp up design. The Sonata may be the first car rendered in Hyundai's latest design language, dubbed Sensuous Sportiness, previewed because of the Fil Rouge concept car shown on the 2018 Geneva Auto Show. And it's the initial model fully conceived because the arrival of the company's superstar designers, Chief Design Officer Luc Donkerwalk, formerly of Lamborghini, Audi, and Bentley, and head of Hyundai Design Shanghai General Motors, Bentley, and Volkswagen. A primary goal of the expressive styling effort, the designers explain, is always to reduce the similarity between models, so don't expect another Elantra and Accent to seem like miniaturized Sonatas. Clever design is more than skin deep. Notice some Aston Martin influence inside Sonata on the front? That's partly due to an identical hood execution, the location where the sheet metal extends entirely out to the best edge with the vehicle. From the driver's seat, it cascades outside of view as an infinity pool rendered in steel. This is an unusual approach over a mainstream vehicle. If every low-speed parking lot accident needs a hood replacement, customers will probably be unhappy and premiums will skyrocket. Luckily, as Sang-Yup Lee explained when he walked us across the car recently from the company's design center in Namyang, South Korea, Hyundai's engineering team does some clever reinforcement within the lower bumper to defend the curvaceous hood. Here is another illustration of that coordinated approach, in a neat and patented trick, the key quarter or so with the chrome trim flanking the hood and extending to the headlights as backlit. When the light is off, it really looks like typical trim. But the chrome coating continues to be burned off by way of a laser inside an expanding grid of 0.05 mm squares to allow light through in increasing intensity the closer the trim extends to the headlights. The one downside using this execution is that it leaves a cut line relating to the lit and unlit sections. But it will require more than looks to be successful, which is where Hyundai, along with the Sonata, is needed to delivering. It's been a great choice among mid-size sedans for over a decade now, even though it wasn't a standout until its 6th generation overhaul for 2011, through which its curvy design featured prominently. That element really widened its appeal and was the very first but still the only time we awarded Hyundai a 10 Best Cars trophy. The slide back toward bland using the previous generation car appears like a lesson internalized rather than likely for being repeated. Everyone knows we build the worthiness car, Lee says. That just isn't enough. A compelling array of features and technology. The new Sonata seals the sale with a Herculean quantity of features and options. Although the trim level details with the United States weren't decided yet, Hyundai assures us that prices likely will become close to today's $23,420 base price and won't rise much through the $33,0202019 Sonata Limited for the top end. Feature highlights: add a digital key, allowing the Sonata for being unlocked and driven using only a smartphone. Through the app that controls this functionality, owners also will probably be able to grant temporary having access to others. All means of driver assist features are enabled through the available 3 radar sensors, 5 cameras, and 13 ultrasonic sensors, standard adaptive cruise, forward collision braking, lane flowing assist. It will keep tracking your vehicle ahead regardless of whether it loses sight in the lane lines, plus available rear collision braking, plus a blind spot view feature that shows a YouTube video feed inside the digital gauge cluster looking back from your respective outside rear view mirror in the event the turn signal is activated. Plus, as launched around the 2016 BMW 7 Series and, until recently, only at luxury offerings, the Sonata has the ability for being pulled into or from a tight parking spot by handheld remote control. There's also a new safety feature that warns of your vehicle approaching on the rear each time a door is opened. Inside, there's an optional 12.3-inch digital cluster and 10.3-inch center screen, similar to what's in upper-level Audi A7s and miles beyond anything currently within the segment, plus a head-up display. There's available Nappa leather, as well as the measured responses to twirling the back knobs and twisting the turn signal stalk. Show and focus on detail that goes much more than skin deep. The wireless charging pad circulates air over the phone to hold it cool and enables charging at as much as twice the prior rate. And even though the roofline was created with elegance planned, rear seat headroom remains reasonable, with contours inside the headliner for making the most on the available space. Still much work to be done. Beneath the shapely exterior is usually a new, third-generation architecture. It's more of any redesign when compared to a complete rethink. But the further optimization and further high-strength steel have brought its claimed curb weight down slightly, whilst the suspension remains a strut-type front plus a multi-link rear. However, there's still a great deal of work to become done before the modern Sonata reaches U.S. dealerships this fall. We got an incredibly brief possible opportunity to drive early prototypes, and it also showed that you may still find 3 more prototype iterations before development is complete. If there's one thing the modern Sonata is missing, it truly is power, because the 2 inland-4 engines offered at launch overlap with each other around the low end on the competitive segment, a 178 horsepower turbocharged 1.6-liter that carries over on the previous car along with a new 191 horsepower 2.5-liter that replaces the prior 185 horsepower 2.4-liter. The 2.5 has each of the latest efficiency tricks. It runs the Atkinson combustion cycle and it has an exhaust manifold integrated using its head, split cooling circuits, and both port and direct fuel injection. And, indeed, which has a projected EPA combined fuel economy of 33 miles per gallon, it moves very nearly to the top with the segment and ahead from the 1.6T's predicted 31 miles per gallon. Obviously, the 1.6T will not be labeled the Eco model ever again. While the prior Eco a dual-clutch automatic transmission, all Sonatas will have a conventional 8-speed automatic. In our limited driving, the transmission's responses were somewhat lazy, both when shifting using the steering wheel-mounted paddles or perhaps in automatic mode. Acceleration to 60 miles per hour will likely be from the high 6 to mid-7-second range, and that is on par with base engine competitors. The 1.6T model on Continental summer tires certainly steered crisply together an impressive quantity of lateral grip, but only all-season rubber could make it to U.S. cars. It also sounded buzzy and unrefined and felt it could use more power. At this early on, each .5-liter was smoother and quieter, although its initial response to throttle inputs from rest was sluggish. And the high quantities of wind noise signify Hyundai remains to be a way removed from meeting its are convinced that the Sonata will probably be the quietest in college. But from a controlled ride, solid brakes, an exceptionally solid structure, and also a natural buildup of steering effort of center, From the time the Sonata is completed, it may well supply the Honda Accord a run for driving sophistication. As of now, there is absolutely no higher performance option for the revolutionary Sonata, but one is coming inside the near future, probably powered using a turbocharged version on the 2.5-liter, and probably be badged in-line model rather than the usual full-blown N variant. Hybrid and plug-in hybrid models are also about the way. Because if there's the one thing that's certain, it's that Hyundai is going to hold pushing.